BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. Baseball season is in full swing, and we're into the home stretch for NBA and NHL playoffs. And there's more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news and scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. With the largest selection of odds on everything from the MLB, NHL, and UFC. And in between games, head over to the BetOnline Casino. All the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino action. So BetOnline, the game starts here.
How long's Busted Open been on, Dave?
It's been 16 years.
And prior to satellite radio, were you just on what, like a New York area station, or where were you guys at?
I mean, no, it was created in Sirius XM. That's Sirius XM.
Okay. I didn't know that. I thought it came from
I've been working for Sirius for a little over 20 years.
Wow.
So I did NFL, and I did NFL, and then I did Busted Open just for fun.
Yeah.
And then it just blew up, and now it's my full-time job.
Look at it
Let
now.
me ask you a question. So you did football first, huh?
Yeah.
What is your primary team? Like, who's your team?
My team's the Cowboys.
Where are you from?
Wait, I remember, Dave, when we were watching a clip of yours last week, you said Cowboys and Yankees, right?
Well, I mean...
Oh, you're one of those?
Well, no, I mean, the Yankees I'm really not a fan of.
Okay.
I'm not a baseball guy.
Right.
But, yeah, I'm a Cowboy fan.
Mm-hmm.
So how long did you... So what type of show did you do on Sirius for NFL?
Yeah, just a football show, talking NFL.
Like, who would be on it with you?
I started with Dan Reeves.
Really? Former coach of the Falcons, Dan Reeves, huh?
Yeah, and then it was just like a rotating different people.
So are you from a journalistic background?
No, but I've done radio pretty much all my adult life.
But never went to school for any broadcasting or anything, right?
No, I did. I went to college for communications. Yeah.
I got you.
Okay, so you're a communication major. So where were the progression was you started in radio, what was your primary thing when you were doing radio to start off with sports?
Yeah, it's always been sports.
Right. Do you consider yourself more of a sports fan or more of a wrestling fan? What ranks higher with you?
I mean, honest to goodness, man, like the last 15 years, I've gotten so far out of touch with like mainstream sports. Like,
really?
Me too, man. Yeah, I got you. I get
really?
The wrestling takes so much of my time that, like, when it's a Sunday, my wife, I wouldn't have a wife.
I literally so it's funny too. In Wikipedia, we actually have a credit on this, right? Not that's necessarily true, but I am in Wikipedia. My fantasy football league is listed in Wikipedia as the oldest recorded fantasy football league in the United States.
Wow.
Recorded, right? And the thing is like we started it based on, there was an article in the back of a Sports Illustrated magazine back in like 1982. Okay. There was an article in the back of Sports Illustrated that was talking about this fantasy football league and everything. So we just started playing, right? Well, many years later, like we've been doing it for 40 years.
That's amazing.
Like, so me and bro, like nothing, nothing is, when you're in a competitive fantasy league and you've known these guys for 40 years, right? There's nothing worse than having a bad fantasy week and like just getting blistered on your message board and your league just getting, because we get a brutal, like, but it's funny too. Jeff Jarrett always says that, like, I'm one of the most annoying guys you'll ever meet in the business, right? I said, dude, I have tortured my fantasy football league, the guys that are on the message board, for like 20 years. I mean, like, just, like that's like my skill is like been getting under people's skin because I've been doing this for so long. But bro, I've found myself over the years, like I never got away from sports. Okay. Maybe some of them like baseball or, when the Braves aren't good, but wrestling between like 2009 and 2012 or 30, over the period of time, bro, I wasn't watching anything.
Yeah,
I got completely disinterested with wrestling
off the radar
before I got disinterested in sports.
Go ahead. It's funny. I'm just the opposite because I started this show in 2009.
Right.
So, but when we started, like I said, I was doing football. And I was doing Busted Open. It was just 1 hour once a week.
Right.
So, and then it just grew from there.
Right.
But, yeah.
Well, plus two, I imagine that you guys had we're going back years now. Okay, you look at the climate, like in the imprint that the Busted Open has in the wrestling picture, right? Now there's way more podcasts.
Oh, there was no pod when I started. There was no podcast.
Right, it's radio. But I'm saying, like, what we call podcast now? Like, there was a wrestling show on the radio. Like, now they're just, you can just download them anytime. They're podcasts, whatever you want to call them, right?
Oh, yeah, well, Dave did that. What was it called? A Yada show. It was like internet radio before there was podcasts called podcasts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, my brother does sports talk radio as well. He works for.
Oh, does he really?
He does. He does afternoon drive on ESPN in New York.
Really?
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So he's a pretty. So, what's your brother's name?
Don
LaGreca?
Yeah.
Well, and who's his team? Is he a Cowboys fan too?
No.
That'd be a Giants fan, right?
He's a Giant. He's a Giant fan. Yeah, he's a big Giant fan and Met fan.
Right. Are you the boss of Busted Open? Are you in charge of it?
Yeah, I'm the executive producer.
Executive producer. So when did you guys start? When did you think about, okay, hey, we got Bubba, we got we got Bubba and Tommy, right? But when did you start saying hey, I want to expand now and bring in guys you're bringing in Dolph, how does that work? Like in your mind, you just say, I'm getting tired of Bully Ray and Tommy.
No.
I want the new guy, right?
It didn't even start with Bully.
Right?
It was me and another employee at Sirius, Doug Mortman, who's not even an on-air personality. He's like a VP at the company now.
Right.
But him and I just did it for fun for an hour.
Right.
So, and it just it grew. So then it got more and more popular. And then it got to the point where when they offered it to be my full-time gig, they said, we want to bring in people from the outside. Like, we want to bring in names with you. So that's when they brought in Bully and Tommy and Mark.
What do you think about it? It's kind of funny how professional wrestling is like this weird genre of entertainment where, people, and because you worked in sports radio, it's kind of interesting that ever since AEW started 5-6 years ago, how wrestling social media has kind of gotten that thing with sports social media, where where the fans are very toxic and polarized and everything, and it's just weird that when you're these days, we're talking about people that are arguing. You're talking about like creative decisions, and you're literally just talking about people in a room that are writing a show and it's being produced on TV and everything, and the amount of venom that comes from the fan base over this stuff is just I mean, I guess we kind of feed into it a little bit and everything, but isn't it kind of weird how it's kind of it's gotten off the rails a little bit, in my opinion? What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, 1,000%. I mean, when I started Busted Open, I wanted it to be sports talk radio.
Right.
So sports talk radio for wrestling. So I was already used to toxic fan bases and passionate fans and all that.
Right.
I was used to that. But when I started the show, there was no social media. Social media, I think, is as toxic as it is because you can say anything you want.
Right.
Without any repercussions.
Right.
So if I said something, whether I called in or I'm talking in a conversation, you're going to see my face, you're going to hear my voice. When you're typing something on a keyboard or on your phone, nobody knows who you are. That's why I look at social media as it's completely fake. I don't think it's real. And I've actually kind of, for myself, I promote things on social media, but I don't engage on social media anymore.
Right.
I can't. It's too toxic.
Well, plus the thing too is I find myself sometimes, and I try not to, but it's just you're looking. It's why am I arguing with somebody that has a cartoon for a profile picture? I don't even know if this is a person.
It's not.
It's right.
It's probably not a person. That's the thing. A few months back, I made and here's the thing: is Busted Open is on 7 days a week. I host the show for 5 days a week.
Right.
The show's 3 hours, so I'm talking wrestling for 15 hours in a week.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So social media or whoever, they'll take a 30-second clip of something I said where you're taking it so far out of context. You're not even listening to the entire conversation. So a few months back, I made a comment about that. I thought it was a bad idea to put Will Ospreay in the ring with Kyle Fletcher in Australia because Kyle Fletcher's from Australia.
Right.
So Will Ospreay's your biggest baby face. Why would you put him against Kyle Fletcher in Australia? You're taking a chance that Kyle Fletcher could be getting cheered.
Right.
So I said I think it's a really bad idea, and it was part of a longer conversation. They took like a 30-second clip of that conversation, put it up on social, that made it sound like I was anti Will Ospreay, and,
Right.
You know, and then
they fed you to the AEW fans, like you know that right, just like they delivered you up on a platter so they could come at you with the claws and stuff. It's ridiculous, you know?
and they like pounced on me.
Yeah.
Where it was like they were just like, I'm talking like crazy, not like, boy, Dave, I disagree, or boy, Dave, you're an idiot for saying like go f yourself. I hope you die.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Your wife, your mother,
dude. All you gotta do is just look at my feed. I don't block people. I literally, like, when people, like, some of the worst things they say, I'll just retweet them and stuff, because like I've like I said, I've learned. Okay, I don't even know who these people are. I'm more concerned with people I know personally saying things that might hurt, like that I would take a thing that's random on Twitter. You know, but yeah, we have the exact same thing, dude. Everybody calls us AEW haters and stuff, because we'll review the show, right? And there'll be a couple clips that come out of the stuff we're burying. But they don't even want to hear the stuff we're putting over. You know, no. It's like that doesn't even, like, we just want to hear all the bad things you're saying about us. So we could call you a hater. It's like, dude, there's stuff I like. It's like you have to watch wrestling every week, right? You can't just, like I argue. I do a show with Russo too, right? And he's just gotten so. I'm like, Vince, I've worked with you I was in the writing room with you. I've known you for forever. There's no way you could tell me that everything that the WWE do is terrible. I was like, I've been in rooms with you. I know what you like. I know creatively speaking. And it's just like, I think some guys get their lane where that's their shtick. They stick to it. That's their fan base and stuff, everything. But it's weird. But I don't consider myself like an AEW hater. All we do, like me and Conan, point out logistics on that show that are done incorrectly. I was the first person a year ago that spoke up about how they're not having production meetings at the show. And if you've ever worked on a professional wrestling show, dude, you have to have a production meeting. The whole, everybody's there. We go over the show. If there's something, something comes up, somebody, hey, wait a second, this doesn't work. We bring, it's corrected, right?
Yeah.
So I look at that show from a production standpoint. What are they doing to try to gain audience capture? What are they doing to try to get new fans? What are they doing that, if a booker wants to keep his job and you're based on ratings, attendance, and stuff that all bookers have been judged on, what are things that they're doing that they're lacking in, And my thing is, maybe you could agree with this if you watch their show, is that the one thing that they do that they are not good at is, if you are a fan of the show, but if you miss something, they don't fill you in on stuff that's going on.
Yeah,
and that's
if you miss a week, you're lost.
You're lost, and I'm like, dude, that's like. The WWE has mastered the art of audience capture, because what they do is, if you've missed a show, all right, we're fine. We got a great package for this segment, great package for this segment. Plus, we're plastering all of our best material all over social media all week. So if you want to go see a YouTube clip and catch it for 2 minutes here and there, you can do that, right, bro? That's where that company lacks, and literally that's it. That's the problem. I see, you could talk about the work and the booking and stuff, but the fact that they're not doing the things that you need to do to gain audience, that's the one thing that we criticize the most. As we had Alvarez on the show the other day with us, and everything, and he went on a rant, talking about what we talked about. He agrees. They're not good at they're very arrogant about it too, is the worst thing. If you missed a show, they're like, well, you can go Google or stuff like no, dude, that's not how this is supposed to work, No, what do you think about that?
I agree. I think it's difficult in a way that I understand it's a different product. So I don't want it to be exactly like the WWE. That would be stupid, because why would you tune in?
Right.
Because you're not going to outdo the WWE.
Right.
So I understand them doing something different. It's more wrestling centric, which I think is a good thing as well. But you're right. You got to gain people's emotions, and the best way to do that, even more so than in a match, are with those are just with those video promos.
They're hype videos. They hype
Yeah.
you up. They get you interested in the story. Right, exactly,
But it's just like when you're watching the NFL draft.
Right.
If all I care about is who are the Cowboys going to draft. So for the rest of the show, the only way you're going to garner my interest is by showing as those video packages of here's the journey of this player at this college. So
Right.
now I'm like, oh, now I'm interested in this player. Now I'm interested in what team is going to draft him.
Right.
You see it in boxing. You see it in the UFC. They have those 24/7s where
Yeah.
they're telling you the story of these two fighters where now I'm emotionally invested
Right.
in this. And that's the emotional investment. If like I'm a Cowboy fan, so I'm always going to be emotionally invested in the Cowboys because they're my team. I'm a football fan, but I'm not going to care about two random teams just playing a football game. I have to be
Right.
emotionally invested. And you're right. Those video packages are what gets you emotionally invested, and storytelling is what gets you emotionally invested. Just a match isn't gonna do that.
You're good, Connor.
Right, Dave. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, first of all, I never thought we'd have heat. We got heat. You're a Cowboy fan.
I am.
Huge heat. Huge heat. And anytime you guys mess up, and Jerry Jones always messes up, or you guys don't go to the playoffs and lose in the playoffs, which you always do, I will make sure I remind you.
Okay, that's fine.
Yep.
Let me tell you why I'm a Cowboy fan.
Right.
1981.
Right.
It's Giants Cowboys.
Right.
If the Giants win, they get a playoff spot.
Right.
My dad and my brother, diehard Giant fans. My dad, God bless him, he's no longer with us. Diehard Giant fan. His family had season tickets for the Giants at the Polo Grounds.
Right.
I had just gotten into an argument with my father before the game. So it was the infamous Joe Danello game. Joe Danello misses a field goal. They could have won the game, misses the field goal, misses a second field goal. Finally, he hits a third field goal. My dad kicks me out of the house, tells me to get the hell out of the house because I'm cheering for the Cowboys. And from that day forward, I was a Cowboy fan.
Well, good for him for kicking you out for being a Cowboy fan.
Oh yeah,
Good for you.
Like, you're not gonna live under my roof and be a Cowboy. He kicked me out of the house.
Right.
So from that day forward, I was a Cowboy fan.
Your dad's over with me. So let me just say this. So when I was young, they gave me a Redskins jacket, right? So because of that, I became a Redskins fan. And, they have war with the Dallas Cowboys. Plus, if you remember, most Thanksgiving, that's why I love talking to people our age because they remember all this. If you remember back in the day, Dallas and Miami were a lot in the Thanksgiving games, right?
Yep.
And plus Dallas, I used to, I grew up in Miami, so I went to the Super Bowl game, Dallas against Pittsburgh, right? And I was so happy that Pittsburgh won. And I got autographs, and I still have pictures with Franco Harris, Terry Bradshaw, Lynn Swann, Jack Ham, everybody, bro. And I should be a Dallas fan. I'll tell you why. Because I'm from the U, right? So Jimmy Johnson, the
Michael
playmaker.
Irvin.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
They're America's team.
Yeah, not really.
America's not anymore.
Right. Yeah, they're not America's team anymore. But I wanted to say something because this is a topic me and Disco drives us crazy, and I caught the tail end of it. Bro, I can't believe that Tony doesn't understand the importance of video packages, right? So I'm going to give you another example. You gave a couple. Do you watch UFC?
I'm not an avid watcher, but I know of the video packages that they have.
All right. So imagine they put two guys, you know nothing of their background, you don't even have that makes the fight better, Well, they'll go and show them training and where they're from. They'll go all the way to Russia, to Dagestan. They'll go everywhere, you meet their coach, and there's like a connection. I was reading this thing Eric Bischoff wrote today, because for a while I saw him like putting up freestyle wrestling clips. And I was like, this is new. And so all of a sudden, he announces today him and, hey, brother, are doing a freestyle wrestling, whatever. And he's bringing up the fact that, like, and this is true, like in The Voice. Have you ever watched The Voice?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they go through that whole thing where they're waiting in line, they're picked, they're emotional before they get in. After they sing their song, they're nervous. If they win at the end, they bring their family in. Like, there is a connection. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he doesn't understand. When I see Mexican guys, yeah, I know who they are, but nobody else does. And the commentator's job is to tell us that, and they do not do that. Or they'll bring in Japanese talent, and you're like, who is this? So that's such an essential part.
No, I agree, and I think they need to do more of it. And I think you're absolutely right. When they have those international superstars, yeah, I know who they are, but 9 out of 10 fans who are watching don't know. So, why are they going to be invested in the match if they don't know who the people are in the ring? Doesn't make much sense.
When do you think, Dave, because AEW's, had a loss in popularity and there's a lot of negativity around it, which wasn't there when it started. It was a lot of positivity. When do you think the worm turned there as far
Before you answer, what do you think of Joe's pasty guns? A la Vince Russo.
I was doing curls before we got on.
Yeah, it really looks like it. Go ahead.
I think for me, it was the combination of that first SummerSlam under Triple H, which was in August, and then in September, the All Out, where CM Punk had the meltdown during the media scrum after their biggest pay-per-view, and he had just won the championship. I just think those 2 months back to back, I don't think AEW has ever fully recovered from.
And when was the fight after that? Pretty close, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
all in London.
Yeah. But then there was at that particular pay-per-view. That's when there was the beef between Punk and the Bucks.
Oh, that was the Bucks time. Okay.
Yeah.
I bet. Yeah.
So it was they called it Brawl Out or whatever. But that's where CM Punk, right after winning the their world championship, just went on a tirade about the Colt Cabana and the Bucks and Adam Page, and just ripped everybody all the executives at the top in one press conference in front of all the dirt sheets. Right. And that was they just never recovered from that.
Yeah, bro. If I would have been leading AEW and Punk would have tried that, I would have 100% cut off his microphone.
Yeah.
Wait, he did it in front of PR and Tony Khan sitting right next to him.
Right, yeah.
Here's the best part.
At some point, somebody should have been like, stop.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Here's the best part, Dave. You ready for this? My favorite part is that he was eating cupcakes while he was doing this.
Muffins from
that store, yeah.
Hey, Dave,
real quick, D.I., that after Punk was fired and Tony made that statement, right? I think when he made the statement, he was like, I felt like my life was in danger. I think that turned some fan sentiment away too, because it was really over the top and made him look weak, right? Like, why am I going to support this guy?
I don't know if that was it per se. Yeah. I mean, because we weren't there, so I don't know what his feeling was in the moment. I got to give him the benefit of the doubt. Mm-hmm. The thing about it is, and you could talk about this in any sport, you just let go of your most popular player.
Yeah.
Right? So you're going to lose fans.
Yeah, you just got rid of Luka Doncic, right?
I mean, yeah, you just got rid of your top player.
Well, here's the one thing too with Punk is that the metrics are pretty. If you go back and you just look at it, it says that doesn't even take overanalyzation. Bro, the guy brings 100 to 200,000 fans with him that are just the CM Punk fans. They did that at AEW, and they went over to WWE, and it's like you could just see the numbers. It's like, wow, this guy literally has 100,000 following of extra fans that support this guy.
I think CM Punk brought big numbers to TV and brought and seats in arenas.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think you can argue that fact, because when he was there, they were selling out and they were getting over 1 million viewers every week.
Yo, what's up? I just want to thank you guys for watching this clip. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, and join our YouTube membership for hours and hours of exclusive, unedited, uncensored content. And being a member will help you get involved in our upcoming live streams. Thank you for your support. Thank you for riding with us. I know you got a lot of other podcast choices, be it wrestling or other ones. And thank you for picking us. Boom.